That would be lovely. Thank.
All right, brother Bradley McCall. Here we go. Let's jump in.
Okay.
Head first. All right. So, as I started thinking about all of the things we talked about and kind of looking at your visuals and your trajectory, I really do think that you are everything you've been doing is kind of leading up to this fun, high energy, high performance. It is reminiscent of yacht rock, for a lack of a better word. So we're going to lean
I
into
agree.
that lane because musically, people love that. People aspire to it. There are new artists that are carrying the torch on, and you could very well be the kingpin of all of that and kind of recreate, a lot of those same vibes and emotions that were, it's iconic. I think it's kind of startled people how popular the genre has gotten. But you have backed into that so successfully. So I kind of want to share a couple things to kind of really, it's more action items if you're onto that. One thing I'm going to have is I'll quit sharing for a second here. Um, I've created that grid to kind of give you a release pattern. I still would promote where you're at, uh, focusing on for the next couple of releases, single after single after single. You might want to even record more music to add all of that as it teardrop or waterfalls into an album at some point. But right now, if you were to do an album and throw it out there, I don't think it gives you enough opportunities up to. I'm trying to think of an Australian analogy, but in America we call it enough at bats, for baseball. You got to get the only way you're going to hit the ball is you got to get it up to bat. And so the more chances you have to do that would be better in my opinion. So I've kind of structured this release cycle. Typically I do them every 6 weeks, but I slowed it down a little bit to make it every 8 weeks, and I'll share that grid. I kind of went in and did a deep dive on kind of some of the social media stuff, that suggestions that might lean you towards that are easy to do and will be very much on brand for you. Also, I took a swing at recrafting your bio to kind of bridge the past into the new. So I'll share that
Great.
with you, and I'll give copies of all this stuff, but we can go through it and then help answer questions and kind of, all right, where do we go next, or what's your next thing? I didn't put any dates on there. I know you were talking about July as like maybe your first one, but this spreadsheet you can adjust it however you need. And so the trick to doing all these release schedules is, and where most artists can get tripped up unless they have a guideline to follow of sort, is they'll get so consumed with what's going on they forget to go, oh my God, I got another song coming out in so many days, that you kind of have to be prepared for, so you don't get caught like, oh dang it, I didn't even get a chance to get my assets ready, and now the song's coming out next week and now I'm scrambling. And they're always chasing it rather than getting ahead of it. You know what I'm talking about. You've lived that probably, but I think you have the time now going in July that you can really kind of navigate this as effectively and tee it up. But let's see. So let me go on my drive here. I'll send you a link to this drive because it's got a lot of cool documents in here. The other thing I put
Very
together
exciting.
for you, um, that can be a really helpful tool is this. Uh, I created you, and it's one I use for a lot of things, and I edit it. Are you good, Bradley?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I was listening and just trying to find some lip balm. My apologies, Clay. Yeah, I'm always listening.
Oh, I thought you must had a text or something come in. I didn't know if it was.
So sorry. So sorry, Clay. Yeah, no, apologies.
Um, so I've created this little release checklist that it'll be in there too, that it can go through all the little assets that you'll need for everything. I didn't put in
Okay.
here as many as I typically do, but I usually try to have like about 4 long form videos and about 30 short form videos that you can prepare for each release and to get prepared for that. Um,
Okay.
so I'll put this in here. It'll have, the different metadata that you need and kind of some overall structural things that you need to just task list to make sure you check off as you're going in each one because it's easy to forget some of the stuff. Um, so that's always really handy. And also, I put in here some of the updates that you'll need to do for each release, which it makes sense when you look at each one, but it's kind of nice to have it all pulled together to kind of update each little platform that you'll be using. The one I don't have in here is Twitter, which I don't typically use. I haven't found it very effective to break artists using Twitter unless they have some sort of I don't know. I don't know what it would be. I don't use Twitter, so I don't even know what that platform can do other than talk about politics. So I'm sure it's more useful than that, but you'll see when you get this. And then, there's some other little tips in there. So I'll put that in there. Um, this is the thing I was telling you about that as we're starting to go in here, and I'll send you this and you can start using it. I don't know if this is a tool for you or like too micromanaging, but this is a great little release strategy. And so I may have showed you a little bit of this the other day, but if you look at the screen here, it's kind of a great planning tool for you and whoever's on your team, to work on the events. And the DSPs, of course, are Apple and Spotify and all those guys. But I have organized this in such a way, and it's a great tool to backwards engineer 30 days out from loading it in to some of the things that you need to work on generating. And of course, we haven't scripted out what each thing needs to be because that'll be predicated on the song and maybe the time of year and a lot of variables. But it gives you like a daily action plan for each one of these formats, even updating your website, stuff you need to do, your newsletter, different things like that. When you need to update your bio that's in your link in your, TikTok and Instagrams. Um, Also, to kind of work on your email blast and, your newsletters. I also put a little column in here also for networking because I think that's really helpful. And that can be is like networking clubs, networking promotion opportunities, networking vendors to possibly be um, an influencer too. If you have a product or something, or they have a product and that you have an alignment with that, you know, it's a great way to make a little extra cash if you're starting to have success on socials. The other thing I like to do in here that you'll notice if you do use this template, I always once a month make sure that I kind of measure my metrics here. And I always encourage before you start is to go ahead and kind of like fill in some of your metrics, like how many followers, just so we can see the growth and you can kind of justify your actions with ads and so forth.
Sorry, Clay, my dog. One sec. Buddy, so good boy. Come on. I thought you wanted to go see Mum. My apologies, buddy. I'm staying here. Thank you, Clay. Sorry about that. He was about to. I thought he was about to bark. I was trying to stop him from barking.
Ah,
I don't see anything on the screen yet. Are you thinking of sharing it, or am I?
oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I got
I was taking
I
notes
was
anyway, so it's kind of helpul just
I
to.
was pointing at the screen here. I'm sorry. I forgot we were on and then we're off. So here you go. Can you see that?
That's amazing.
So, it's Google Sheets or Excel. It's easy to use, but I think as you're starting to plan out, you have those days with you or, your record label friends or whoever that are in your world going forward and plotting and planning your course. This gives you kind of a 31 day countdown to the release date. Um, but like I said, I didn't, depending on the song, would dictate some of the social media stuff. You'll see that there's some helpful comments that I've put in here. One is kind of like your goal for every release, because you'll want to have, 3 to 4 long form videos, and that could be like just an audio video or a visualizer lyric video or a official video like you've done too. But there's a lot of ways you can do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This
That's
is your
very
rhythm
thorough.
of Instagram. This is your posting on Instagram strategy. You got a lot going on this morning, man. So, but yeah, this is just an average goal to kind of move the needle, and it
That's
is
great.
posting just about every day. So that's is what I have found with our clients. It's manageable, but as long as you get ahead of it, and as you'll see in here, I start posting. Well, I hadn't filled this in, but what I'll do, you pick your day and time that is your content day. So let's say it's Sundays, Um, I always, on my chart here, I didn't put the day of the week, but I always uh, create a different color for Monday just to give me a sense of the weeks and helps me count it. But as soon as you put the dates in, I'll be more clear. But a lot of people will use Saturday or Sunday as their content day, that they don't have anything else they got to do and they work on it. They'll shoot the videos and they also have to dedicate time, as you know, to editing them. And I try to get them to focus on doing as much as they can in the time block, more than just one in post. Try to get 3 or 4 of them. And you might already have this rhythm. You've been doing it a while, but get enough of them in the hopper that you can kind of focus on getting the content filmed and then focus on getting it made. And then you can kind of strategically drop them where they need to go. But that's always helpful. Um,
Yeah, that's so good. I'm
so yeah,
speaking
some
less
other
today
things.
because of my conjection, Clay. I'm speaking less and just
Yeah, no worries.
listening. Just so you know, just so you
Well,
know,
let
I've
me
got
just,
yeah,
yeah, no, no worries.
loving it.
I'll share. We can open it up for kind of some questions and like, so, but you'll have all this and just kind of work through it. There's a lot of room for, you charting your own course. These are kind of best practices. So for instance, as a timeline would go, typically I don't start really promoting hard until about 2 weeks out, maybe. Really hard about a week out. It depends on my rhythm. Once I get my rhythm going, then I don't trip over each song. I'll hammer it hard. So as you'll see, like this song comes out on, I put a Tuesday because I always like off days from Friday because it's so hard to get attention. So if I do it on that Tuesday, you'll see I've got 8 weeks before your next one. So what happens then once you kind of create that rhythm, I typically don't even start promoting until like the week prior. Hammer, hammer, hammer. And that way I'm really blitzkrieging it. What they have found is people like when you say, "Hey, listen to my song," and they can actually hear it, versus going, "Hey, in 3 weeks, if you can remember, I've got a song coming out on this day, but it's not today, it's 3 weeks from now." So that was old school and people quit doing them. They want to hear it when it's out. They want to hear it now. So I kind of compressed all the promotion stuff to a week before the release. So you'll see that in here. But there's other suggestions that you can do. One thing that I put in here that I find that's easy to do is, you know, when you do release on your day of, make sure you have an audio video, you have that. I spread out every week for the next 3 or 4 weeks with something new. So in order to accomplish that, and they don't have to be fancy, as you see, it could be like a piano vocal performance, and it could be your friend holding, you do just lip singing to piano, maybe the whole song, but you capture that chorus or you edit it. What I've done for a lot of my clients is I'll have them like you would be at the piano. You get kind of half decent lighting. And I would get my iPhone and I would film top to bottom of the song with you lip singing it 3 times, 3 different angles. Maybe one's close up, one maybe mid, one's far back, but I'm moving around and stuff. And then I will line it up on like CapCut. We'll do it. Put the audio underneath and just start editing it pretty quickly. And those are really simple videos that are great visualizer videos. You can drop the lyrics in there, but that could count as one. And that way you get to spread your budget. And if you do actually have the budget for like more higher developed videos, then you can just plug that into the system here. Maybe you come out with these later, but the more video content, the better. And the more video content that leans on, your neo yacht rock new explosion, the better. So other things that you'll see on here is just some ideas about carousels and, on the weekend, what we have found that posting at night because of doom scrolling is probably the best. So if you want to work your world and, create some American appeal and trigger some of this, you might want to just kind of backwards engineer what time that would be. It's probably, let's see, if it's 8 o'clock your time, I'm going to say you could probably start posting at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, would hit all these night timers on the weekend perfectly. But, you'd have to do for Friday night, it had to be Saturday, right? So whatever that is, but that's something to consider.
What time is the doom scrolling time frame? Like what time is that?
They say on Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. All the people that ain't got enough money to go out on dates. They don't want to watch television. They're trying to go to bed and they're watching this. And a lot of them have their volume down. So put lyrics or put words or phrases, like we've done. I've also done a little hype sheet on suggestions for promoting. One thing that we want to identify in your process is there are 3 kind of tiers to launching an artist or even a new song or new direction. The first one is content. I'm sorry, the first one is discovery. And then, after you get people to kind of slowly become aware of who you are, then you want to have the connection. So you start sharing more information about you and behind the scenes and the making of and the inspiration of. And then ultimately it's the conversion. And that's where, your storytelling comes in and they go, oh, wow, he's consistent and he's fun. I like him. I'm going to follow him. I'm entertained. This is a new channel I want to watch more often. So, but I'll send you this. I hope you use it. I use it for every one of my clients, and we always use this to start our meeting. And so what we'll do, I'll go up to like, all right, let's say it's next Monday right here. This is where we're at. Did we first accomplish all the things above? What do we got on our task list today? And then we look ahead and start plotting things in our event calendar. For instance, like, oh, that Tuesday, so-and-so, I'm going to be playing a, live show at, what was it called? Eat Street, and you could put a little thing in there, doing a yacht rock review, whatever. I don't know. But, you have themes and and then that information there, when you go back to it as like your planning guide, it kind of gives you thought to look foresee ahead and going, well, I need something for TikTok, I need something there. And it just kind of helps me for somebody gets distracted, kind of helps me pull in. It's like, all right, let me get the four things. Let me go back to my top of my thing. Now, what did Clay say I need? Oh, I need 4 reels a week. I need 2 carousels a week. I need 1 image post a week. And I need 3 to 5 stories a day. Damn. Okay. Well, let's do what am I going to do this week? And how do I get that? And this is my song and where I'm leading them and where I'm at on the cycle of promotion. So, you know, I'm going to erase that, but you see what I mean? I mean, it's more of a planning tool than anything. So I'll share all this with you in a link, and you can download it or use it, whatever you need to do. All right. So I kind of, like I said, I wanted to first focus on,
Excuse me.
What the branding shift, and it's just a slight shift. It isn't a dramatic shift, Bradley. I don't think, really.
No, I
It's
agree.
just putting
I agree.
it's just putting a flag in the ground and going, hey, well, I'm this, I'm leading this. So when you come to see me, this is kind of the experience you're going to get. So with that, I end up crafting a new, just a draft of, I took your bio that you had and tried to manipulate it to tee up the next thing of rock and all. So here's an approach. For years, Bradley McCall searched for the sound that truly defined him, one that honored the legends he studied while bringing something fresh to today's music scene. That journey led him straight to the timeless melodies and smooth grooves of yacht rock, where the spirit of Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross, and Kenny Loggins meets a modern piano-driven energy. It felt like, and these might not be the best analogies, but I'm trying to help you define, like, all right, this is where I'm at. Is it pigeonhole you? It's marketable. It's live show bookable because there's appeal. People already know, like, oh, well, I love all those acts. I probably will love Bradley.
Look, you're right. You're right because too. I think yeah. Just to confirm, I think you're totally spot on. It's also too with the next stage of PR. Everyone's yacht rock's kind of on everyone's tongues at the moment, so everyone's going, "Oh, that'd be cool to explore. What can we do with that idea?" I think
Yeah,
you're bang
yeah.
on. Yeah, even if it's not completely accurate, but nothing's ever completely accurate. It's marketing. You know what I mean? It's
Well, yeah.
I,
The adjacent,
I
it's called adjacent
that's right.
marketing. Have you ever
That's
heard?
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I
Like, well,
just mean
here's
in
Yacht
terms
Rock,
of
but here's
yeah,
Bradley
yeah.
McCall, and he's close, but here he is, and he's so close that if you like this, you're
That's
going to like
right.
that. Yeah.
100%.
Hey,
Yeah,
once you
100%.
got them hooked in, you can take them on a journey to be more things, and but we're trying to get them into the boat, for lack of a better analogy. Let's get them in the
Yeah,
boat.
yeah, yeah. That's
But I'll
right.
send you this. I kind of it weaved in some of the. I mean, I think
I
it's
love that, Clay. Thanks for taking the effort to do that. I think that's really great. I really like it. Feels good.
so the other thing, I mean, even going back to your website, which, I was thinking about the images. I don't think they're far off, and the quality of them are great. It's like the roller skater girl here, that kind of vibes on it. Um, you know,
It's that stuff. It's
I
the
don't,
Piano Man stuff, I think.
yeah. And maybe you kind of edit that a little bit because it seems like
I'll
there's more
replace it.
energy. Just, yeah, it's a simple big, and maybe the Steve Martin and Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
For me, that's kind of confusing. I'm not sure what that means. Steve Martin's funny. Hugh Jackman has the claws on the. He's a superhero, but
Yeah.
he's an actor, I guess. And but that I'm not sure what that for me for clarity.
Well,
So you might want to.
yeah. Well, I think what I've got to do is I've got to start making this just the music website where I was starting to maybe do a little middle of everything. So I'll make this just the
Yes.
music, and I'll move all the other stuff into development into LinkedIn and try to build networks in LinkedIn for other projects like the producer money people stuff. And I'll
Right.
start to
Yeah.
try and really. I'll add in LinkedIn into your document you've made when I use it, so I can start getting my brain to process that. So I'll go, well, no, if you're going to post anything about a script you're writing, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
If you're going, to,
Yeah.
or so yeah, uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
because there is a lot going on here. And I mean, um, that's the
it's too
reason.
much for
Yeah.
people
I
to
think that's,
process.
well, I just like, well, I don't know. What is he really doing now? What is his, you know, but a lot of these live shots are good. I mean, the images aren't bad. You might want to add some more fun things in here. Maybe yacht rock centric or I know we talked about some apparel. I did pull up some images, just trying to, and I think you kind of resonated with some of that,
Yeah,
not with the
yeah.
hat, like even this is cool or, the wide collar. I don't know. I mean, you've got a, right now, the image that you have um, doesn't evoke that yacht rock vibe yet. It kind of evokes more of a maybe like the Wiggles or something, you know, just a dude with a t-shirt on or something. I'm trying to think of another analogy, but um, I don't think that would be much to edit that really to get it.
I love
Um,
the Toto one you sent me. I love this Toto one down the bottom. Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's spot
yeah,
on.
some
I've
like
got some
these.
questions for you about photos later. So I've got some
Okay,
questions to ask you. So I'll bring that
all
up
right,
then. I won't interrupt the flow.
okay. Some other things that I put in here that I got the bio in there. I've got the timeline. I got the release checklist. I also kind of did some social media marketing stuff just to kind of so I mean these are some good little things. They're idea generators for how to kind of take because you're really good at social media. I mean, you're putting it out there. It's interesting. The video, you have tons of energy when you film it. Well, now we need to kind of brand it so people kind of go, oh, well, he does that. And I think instead of trying to be all things, we kind of like let's angle into some of the stuff that talk about your the legends and the influences and the performances and so you'll see in here as I put social media content ideas, performance and music focused content, um, and then we'll have song teasers. But I don't let me blow it up so you can see it. I mean, they're just pretty interesting ideas that are really to stimulate you to go, oh, well, I don't like that one, but I like this one, and I could do it like that. But it one thing that I tried to weave in there some of these imageries of what yacht rock is without being a cover band. You know what I mean? So when people need to see something like, oh, that's that yacht rock vibe, because it is a vibe and it's
I
very
think Clay, that's part of the process here is that like trying to maybe take back the term where it's kind of like when you first started talking about it. God, I'm so congested today. It's so funny. Uh, when we started talking about it, I was pushing back on it. I was very resistant to the term because of I thought of the parody version of yacht rock, like you're saying, in the over the top cover bands. But the truth is there is a very authentic version of that, which is not the parody of itself. It's just all the authentic imagery, the fun things, like you were saying, that there's a reason that things get parodied because there's an element of truth in them. So there's something in
yeah,
that to take back and like so I've realized, and I'm sharing this in case you sort of re-clarify it to me again to see if I've got this right, is that you can use classy stuff of boats and oceans and it doesn't have to seem like a joke. Like, it's just like I tried something recently
yeah,
using a California sunset and I was like
yeah,
overlooking this big ocean. And I was like, that felt really classy and really evoking an imagery of like a story. And I was like, oh, I think this
Yeah.
is what Clay's talking about. Like, it's not just like,
Yeah.
hey guys, you ready to have some silly fun
Yeah.
with me on a yacht? It's
Exactly. And I think, where the guys are doing hey, here's a great analogy. Country music has the same parodies done of country
that's
singers,
right.
like the big hat, and like, I'm country and I'm singing a song. Well, I fucked the sheep and the goats in there. It's like, what? It's like that. What are you saying? But still today, I just got off a call with somebody else earlier before we jumped on, and they were going, man, it's obvious that old traditional country's kind of having a resurgence, isn't it? I said, well, it's always a pendulum. It always swings. And so the trick is like catch it where it's going to go to. And if it's your natural place who you are, then it's time. Because I've had too many friends that were traditional country artists and it switched over to kind of what they call bro country. Oh my God, they
Yeah.
didn't know. Well, I don't fit in. Nobody digs me. But that was for a period of about 10 years. Now it's swinging back. So I don't know. But just,
Great, great.
use these
Okay.
as like, inspiration once you get your song picked out and you can really start, seeing of some of these things. Some of them are so simple because that was the other thing I wanted to make sure that they were easy to film. There wasn't a lot of production. It's you and a phone. I mean, as you see here, use car footage, dashboard views, the road trip vibes. Uh, and I mean that doesn't have anything to do with yacht rock. It's just cool music you want to hear. Um, if you come up here to some of these other ones here with the interactive stuff, I mean, so create a fun, interactive, you know, uh,
There feels like a lot of education in the yacht rock thing too, in terms of, I don't think a lot of people know what it is, especially younger people. So I guess there's an opportunity to frame it in a way that feels good for me as opposed to trying to play into the parody, which is the other thing I'm realizing.
well, yeah. The
Like
other thing that I really,
it's very industry centric. Like it's like looking at this hashtags and stuff. Like I said to you, I was like, there's not a lot of uh, but there's not a lot of like instant traction like with the Queen stuff.
yeah,
People are itching for Queen and Fleetwood Mac. So if I use those hashtags or if I use those covers or if I, blah blah blah,
yeah,
that sort of has a natural engagement. But what that doesn't do is create my lane, my
right,
marketability,
yeah,
my so I get what
yeah.
you're saying. So it's like trying to sort of walk those two. So yeah, I'm really on board, Clay. I think you really nailed it.
Well, I tell you what, honestly, if you
Excuse me.
focused about 80% of your social media energy and strategy just on Facebook, you would probably crush it. Your audience is older. Your words, they're 40-plus-year-old women.
Yeah.
They are not on TikTok.
It's what's
They're not
interesting I
on,
found too. The ways that I'm getting traction on TikTok, the style, it's not working on Facebook. It's just dying. It's
not that
really
style.
interesting.
Yeah. Mhm. They want
So
to hear
so
substance. They don't want to see clips. They want to hear you tell stories, inspiration. I love this Hall and Oates song. It made me feel this. Because of that, I wrote this song. What do you guys think? Give me some feedback.
I'd
These
love to.
older ladies
I should.
would
Yeah. I need to
fall in
find
love with
some.
you.
I need to find someone that's crushing it on Facebook in this, not in yacht rock necessarily, but that's engaging with an audience in an authentic way. Like I've started to get on TikTok and those natural traction
Yeah.
numbers. I used to get it on Facebook the old way I was marketing. It had really good
Hmm.
numbers, but it changed since I got better at, at short form. When my
Yeah.
brain started to
Yeah.
think like a 20-year-old, I guess, and then I lost what the other demographic wanted. I was trying to just
Yeah.
like hook them.
Yeah. 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 Well, the problem with TikTok followers is they're disposable. They're chasing
Yeah,
trends, they're chasing things. The older audience will buy records, they'll buy concert tickets, they'll correspond. especially if you sing music or you kind of resonate a, a, a feeling for them. I know we probably talked about this before, how music imprints people. Did we talk about that? You know, and it
Dance
usually
with
happens
me, go
about the
for it.
time you become a young adult and you're discovering music and how music moves you. And ironically, it's about the time, as it was put to me, that people end up finding their first love and lose their virginity, and that music that's the soundtrack around that era of their life becomes their soundtrack for life. So it would probably behoove you to do some recon on, the time and things that were happening then, maybe doing flashbacks, because you might not be old enough, but you are old enough to have heard all that music, but you were not, your fans could actually be older than you are. And
Most
they
of them
have a
are,
crush
yeah.
on you. They have a crush on you and what you do and musically and the way you make them feel. So I just encourage you for this. I mean, if the end goal is to monetize it, to get bookings and pay dates, that will sell some tickets. Those older women control all of the household income and spending. And that's what's made country music such a blessing, because guys don't typically buy tickets to a show. I mean, maybe, if it's somebody big or stuff, but their girlfriends all want to go to whatever. So the boyfriends end up buying them tickets. So, as it was put to me, and this yacht rock and the age demo is not far off from where country music's median age demo is. And as it was put to me, 76% of all the listeners and buyers of country product and concert tickets are 76% of them are women. And it's like, wow, this is not a dude loving music format. And it isn't so much that, because the guys like it. I think it's just the guys are lazy. They're kind of lazy. The girls get moved emotionally and they like songs. I like that. I want that. The guys are like, oh yeah, I gotta say he's cool. Who is that? Yeah, he's cool. I mean, that's been my experience. And we've tried to, it always scares me when I have an artist that has like 70% males like them. I'm like, ooh, that's gonna be hard. And it's cool that they like you because you're a dude's dude, but they might not like you enough to go, hey girlfriend, why don't you come to a concert with me? It's like, I ain't going to see him. He's a redneck. It's like, oh man, he's cool. It's like, and it makes it tough. It's so weird to think about your buying strategy of like, and I'm
Yeah, it's
talking to
usually,
you
it's
like
like, who
your
are the
product
people?
is a brand, and yeah, it's like it's
No,
just
it's like, I'm just trying to think of the artist that did that. Was it Eminem? Like, was it guitar heavy guys? But a lot of those ones broke still with a lot of women. Like, because back in the 70s, it was women at the time that were
yeah,
loving Zeppelin. Yeah, it's so true.
yeah.
It's
I
really
mean, you had
interesting.
Robert Plant up there with his shirt unbuttoned,
That's
doing his
right.
thing. Van Halen with David Lee Roth going, no, up there looking like Tarzan, and you had Elvis Presley, and all it's you had the Beatles with the long hair. The girls were like, oh my god, I mean, it's always been that way. Justin Bieber. Um, so now we have just it's almost like a freak show that you see a lot of these come on the scene now, and you're like the yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting art form of like, well, where do I land? But so yeah, back to this marketing
Great.
strategy. You know, I'm calling it neo yacht rock, for lack of
I
a better
like that.
word. So yeah. Um, I also created a little bit of a 30-day content calendar, um, and I wanted to break it into a couple different sections. So really focused on discovery, um, for them to lean in a little deeper, and then to be really hardcore fans. So check this out when you get all this information. I mean, these are
Yeah,
more
awesome.
TikTok, Instagram kind of feed stuff, but I'm trying to get them to where they're, as you can see here, discovery phase is phase one, and then the engagement and content. That's where you give them just a little bit something deeper that they can grab a hold to, and then finally you want them conversion phase that they're following and they like you. So this is kind of a really compressed into 4 weeks, but just for this exercise, it gives you a thing, and you can stretch that out over the period of time between now and July when you're releasing to kind of get them like, oh, come with me. I'm the Pied Piper. You like this music? Here's something new. Here's another new one. Here's another new one. And look at this guy. Have you heard of her? Have you heard of him? You know. Hey, I got a question for you. Why has there never been a female yacht rock artist?
Fleetwood Mac are close.
Eh, maybe.
Like they're defined as they're defined as, but like Stevie Nicks is a rock artist. She's not yacht rock. Christine
Yeah, no.
McVie has some yacht rocky kind of stuff. Like
Yes, you did. I
ABBA,
love Kristen.
ABBA is slightly yacht rocky in
Yeah,
sometimes, but it's still
Swedish pop. Yeah,
pop. It's Swedish
yeah.
pop. Yeah, I don't know why. Is this a joke?
Oh,
You got a punchline? Because women don't know how to
I don't
drive a
know.
boat? Is that the joke?
I don't know. I mentioned that to somebody and they go like, well, that's not fair. I'm like, I don't know. Name them. Name it. Why
Yeah.
wasn't there? There were a lot of great female singers back then. It's like they didn't exude that cool, like, hey, we're here for the party and I'm your
Carly
captain.
Simon had a yeah, Carly Simon had a couple of songs like Tranquillo and There Goes My Heart, but they're more arrangements than artists. So I'm
Yeah.
proving your point. Because Carly
I
Simon
don't
wasn't a
know.
yacht rock artist; she was presented like a folk artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more I no,
Yeah.
like, and this is what you've put me onto. Like I've realized that all of these artists have a marketability point that people engage with. It doesn't mean that that's who they are. It's just the way in which you enter their world. That's all it
Right.
is.
Yeah. It is.
And
And-
then people can make fun of that, but the sheer fact is you need something people can make fun of for people to understand it. Otherwise, they don't give a crap about you because they don't understand
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
you
I've
have to
always
pick
been,
you have to plant your flag, don't you? You just have to.
there you go.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not polarizing, it, it, it's harder to market, honestly. The polarity of it, you want as many haters of it as you do lovers of it. And when that all starts to happen, the
I've
indifference is
seen it.
death.
I've seen it. I've seen
Yeah.
stuff in the last few months with what I'm posting. You have some people that get super on board, like more than I've ever had
Yeah.
before. And sure, it's covers. It's not my own songs. And the challenge will
Yeah.
be, like we're saying, is that the discovery part of that might be covers, and then there's something deeper is moving them until I have enough catalog out there that it's all my stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
seeing people that get behind it, and then some people that go, like one person wrote the other day, I never understand why people post covers that are clearly not as good as the original. It's which I thought was so funny, and I just commented back. I said, "You are so right. Who would think they were better than Elton John, bro?" I get full positive with them
Yeah.
if they even if they're
No,
pushing
these are
back.
just
I'm
my
like,
inspiration. Yeah. I'm seeing it out
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
inspiration and accolade.
It's
Yeah.
like, can I bring you with me even if you hate me? Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Yeah. And you answered it perfect. And that mindset that you have is exactly what you have to have in this journey because you're going to get haters. It's
Yeah,
just, if you're not getting comments, that's when it's dangerous. When you get comments, ironically, the algorithm feeds you further. So um, there's this whole concept of you can only make a difference if I forgot the exact phrase they used, but the whole essence was you have to be in contrast. If it's light, you got to be dark. If it's dark, then you've got to be light. So that whole polarity of pissing people off or just going, oh, yeah, well, I like them because they're different. And that happens a lot, especially in the sea of the sameness. That's the one thing I really applaud you for because you definitely have, your inspiration and your sound. and you did it naturally without chasing, like, I'm gonna go for this. I mean, you did it as
Yeah,
a
yeah,
journey in learning the art and the love of what inspired you, and that you could emulate it and write your own songs that were motivated from the inspiration. So
yeah. It's
that
got an
story
authenticity to
somehow,
it that's missing in some people's. Like you're right, which is a huge asset. I need to lean
most
into that.
people, I mean, another artist I talked to today, they want to be famous so bad they don't give a shit what kind of music they do, which is kind of scary. I'm like, well, what do you do? And it's like, well, I mean, I can do, kind of hip hop, and I can do a little, maybe country, maybe, like a hip hop country, but not hip hop, not like Georgia, Florida line. I'm like, what? Well, like, maybe like, the name artist. I'm like, okay, well, all right. So you're lost. And what I do know about you, Bradley, you're not lost. You know what you're doing musically and what you love to do and how it reacts to people. Now it's about doing it more on a bigger scale to where you kind of expose that to your Facebook friends, new friends, and Instagram and TikTok, to where they're like, I like him. He's talented. There's no doubt he's talented. He's an entertainer, and man, I just think that that's on brand, and it's a longer road, But with that being said, always stay on TikTok, because while you're doing this, you very well may hit on something that goes viral that causes this wave of just awareness. Like, who is this guy? Brent, what? He's got, what's this? Someone like you? Oh, I like that. Oh, that's cool. I mean, so that's the whole
Would you
trick.
say? Let me just write this. I'm just adding to my questions. Okay, stay in that flow, Clay. I'm not interrupting. I'm just writing down my questions as
No,
I go to ask you at the end.
yeah, no, I mean, I just, think that some of these tools and stuff, I mean, honestly, it's going to be you, Bradley, that has to
Yeah,
embrace the narrative and look at it long term. Even if you make one post that doesn't do well, or 10 posts in a row that are like, there's a market out there for what you're doing. It's about, how do I find those people? And if we target who they are, they're probably 37 to 65, 40 to 65. I don't know. How do we find that lane? Find events that 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 would have those kind of women. Find other acts that would have that kind of genre that you can cater to, because I'm telling you, those ladies still love music. They still love music. They love the way it makes them feel. And um, and you're just such a charismatic entertainer. I just think they would eat you up like candy, man. It's just, you've got to kind of lean into that. And you're doing TikTok for a viral moment, but honestly, that world that is right for you is on Facebook, and they are right there, and they don't even know what they don't know. They just, I don't know. I like yacht rock. And maybe in America, yacht rock has a different thing, because because we still have Sirius XM stations that are just committed just to yacht rock music. And the summer coming up, it'll be very, it's the weirdest thing. And I don't think it's a fad. I think it's iconically classic, like old time rock and roll. And we still have old time rock and roll new rock bands that come out. It's like 90s country, which was Y2K, that country station. Well, now we have new country artists that are the neo version of Y2K that are in mainstream. So I don't know where this trajectory will go. I know you right now, from what I see, you only have like those 4 or 5 songs that have been unreleased. Um, you need to get those finished, and you really need to kind of go ahead and start thinking about creating more, and how to get those recordings. And it doesn't. I mean, I'm sure they have amazing studios in Australia that you don't have to fly all the way to LA to record. but I
Well,
would
I'm
find
moving
affordable.
stateside. I'm moving stateside anyway,
Okay.
so I got a year to for all the stuff that I do. I need to be at a place where there's more opportunities and more people and more networks because where I live is just not opening doors.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, look at this, meeting you. You're from Nashville. You're from Music City. If we hadn't met, who would be helping me? You know what I mean? So I know that.
Yeah.
So I agree, and everything you said is so good, and I so agree with it all. Um,
Yeah. Well, I still think, let's
I've
see,
got
if you have
songs.
four
I got this.
songs.
Well, no, I got the 10 songs, but beyond that, I have a catalog of stuff ready to go that just needs to
Oh,
be
okay.
recording.
That's awesome.
We've got the record label that I've built with these investors that we're just firming up legals. So I'm going to take all of this and go to them and sort of say, look at the traction we're getting, look at this great direction we've got. I'm going to
Yeah.
try and see if we can lock down a process of a couple of records. Look at
Yeah.
doing the budgets a little simpler. I mean, the next album is really Hall and Oates, so it's a
Yeah.
little less. Anyway, the records I make are always expensive, so I've got to find a way of bringing that down but keeping the quality. So that's a cool challenge to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but um
Yeah. That
but
is
there's
tough.
sync possibilities. There's like if I can
Yep.
brand this in a way, then there's like there's a lot of there's a lot of yeah there's a lot of
Do you write, Bradley, have you written all these songs by yourself?
yeah
Oh, that's fantastic. The only reason I ask, the sync placements, that is really advantageous in terms of like the one-stop sync placements, because you owning the master and owning all the publishing and controlling that, man, it makes it so much easier for them to license. They don't have to chase down a lot of this and that.
yeah
When you do mix out stuff, make sure you mix out an instrumental track in addition to your main mix. The
yeah
other thing that we have been asked for from the music supervisors lately is they want an audio mix. And the reason why, they'll end up taking that 2 track and maybe killing your vocal on most of it, but only dropping it in with the hook where they want the little like do 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 do. And I love to sleep, sleep, sleep. Whatever the song is. It's like, oh well, they cut out all the lines like, well, when all the bullshit that didn't matter to the commercial, what the really hook is, but they'll have that as the bed. And it's amazing that they'll do that. It's like, wow, okay. Well, I get why you want it now. So we give them, instead of giving them all the multi tracks, we'll give them the vocal track, the instrumental track, 2 track, vocal track, stereo, and then, of course, the mix WAV file. But when you're mixing out any of these things, just make sure that they yield that to you. And sometimes, for your purposes, if you're doing like a local TV show and you play into a track, maybe you don't have a cost for that, but we used to always have that where we wanted the TV track. The TV track, as you know, traditionally it would have everything except the lead vocal. And so if you have harmonies on there, those harmonies would be on the track. So they could accompany in whenever used as like a karaoke track for TV or something. So,
okay that's cool
um,
okay.
well, jumped on the questions. Let's what
Clay,
I'll send
thank
you
you
a link
so
to all
much
the
for all the
stuff.
effort. Thank you for all the effort you put into this. Once
Oh, you're
again,
welcome.
we've come to work together at the exact right time, and yeah, I totally agree with you that all of this stuff has been stepping in this direction, and it's interesting through the process of making Worried Minds and that podcast, and it's incredible that life imitates art or art imitates life because that podcast is starting to end, and it really is this end point of like this version and this chapter of me trying to imitate everybody to learn and to be disappointed that I am not them. And then the ending point is, well, why don't you just be yourself, you idiot? Like, and I know
Yeah,
that's a
I
harsh way to
love
put
that.
it, but
No, I love
bro,
that.
all these attributes are who you are. So just
Yeah,
share them with people as opposed to thinking the only way to be successful is to safely imitate someone else in the way that you are comfortable being. And that's the thing
yeah,
about
yeah,
art is it asks us to bear the parts of us I think that we're most vulnerable about. For whatever reason, we have to show people, I think for me, it's the enthusiasm. Sometimes I get self conscious about it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Or the things that make us individuals. You have to find your own lane. So that the end of that series is me starting to work on sort of the neo yacht rock chapter, and in a way it's all been building to this because it is aesthetically visual, like stylistically, in the apparel, in the tone of the marketing, in the use of the certain terms and things. It's all been getting to this point, which is like, yeah, lay down your anchor as opposed to plant the flag, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. No,
And
I like.
and yeah, so the questions that I have are more about the areas in which I don't think I fully understand how to uh, bring that out yet. But I suspect that as I start the journey, just like getting to now, I'll start to understand a bit more, and I'll like I just wrote down covers, basically. So I think one of the big ones I've got. The first question would be, um, how do I juggle like what we're going to see over the next 6 months is that I'm going to have a lot more high end stuff to share again. So I can use the stuff you've prepared for me, like the sheet, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, and and I'm going to have like large pieces of storytelling, like the podcast, and like broad pieces, which eventually help with the converting someone into a super fan because it's like deep diving and there's so much they can get into, right? And that's not the
Yeah.
top thing, that's the bottom thing. In between there, and I'm sort of calling myself out at the same time saying this, is that I don't have a lot of the basic bitch stuff, which is like the day to day kind of like, this is what I'm doing shit. Because I do so
Yeah.
much, I've veered
Yeah.
away from it because I don't know how to tell the story of the guy that's the neo yacht rocker, and maybe that's what I'm going to find in the Am I a Yacht Rock podcast, which I'm absolutely making.
Yeah.
But so that's the bit like the Eat Street gig, the independent musician story. It doesn't align with all the high quality branding stuff I do. So it's a bit of a
Well, I mean,
disconnect. So
you
what
don't
do I?
have to
Yeah.
incorporate
So
that. You-
well, this is my
I think,
question. What do you see the basic bitch gig, basic bitch thing is for me? And I'm just using that phrase because it's fun to say this morning. But like, what's the? Is it me writing the songs? Is it? I probably need to do a brain dump of what that is. It's like working on the playlist today. Like, what are those real life stories? Or is it me walking
yeah,
around going, I was thinking about dreams today. That song, that's a groovy song. Like that. Is it more like that kind of stuff? So it's real life, but theme adjacent. Is that how to think about it?
yeah. I mean, it's the music has a certain style that exudes wealth, uh, romance. Um, it was a chapter in our society. Um, so a lot of those things that affiliated with are all positive, for the states. So yeah, I see your conundrum, but I would I would do all lifestyle things that for your socials, they don't have to see every side of your world. I mean, you're not like
They
an
just have to think they
influencer.
do. They just have to think they do by seeing the visuals
Yeah.
of a real world. Okay.
Or they think they see what your real world is, but I mean, they don't need to see that you worked as on this project this weekend and now you got a head cold. Those are influencers like, oh, I'm not feeling good today, and or those kind of things that are
Uh,
like, oh, I like you because you're good at talking on camera. That's a whole different thing versus identify those 3 to 5 little markers that are part of your thing. Music's definitely one, live performances two, your love for, legends in our format, and the legends that inspire you the most just happen to yield this uniquely neo yacht rock music. And if you just kept to those 3 or 4 topics, you got enough shit to talk about forever.
okay.
I
Okay,
think
that
once you
makes sense.
kind of
Thank you. Thank you for
realize
that.
that you can't Well, once you kind of realize that there's no way in hell you can be all things to all people, man, it's freedom. But you just go, well,
Yeah, I think
this is
someone
what
once
I am
told me I need to
professionally.
share real life. I think someone once told me it's like you have to really show people who you are, and I think that sort of confused me a
A
little
little
bit.
bit, but only if you're wanting to be an influencer, because your music is who you really are. I mean, you're not
Yeah, that's
chasing
right.
something that's like, hold on here, this is really popular, and he's now all of a sudden chasing this music trend. This has been your fiber since you were a young man, learning from the fucking legends. And so that is authentic to me. You don't have the authenticity and you're older, so you doing silly random shit of you being a TikTok influencer. Let that go, bro. Let that
Okay.
go. Because I don't think we can compete with that. Um, and I don't think it has musical fiber, you know. Hey, there's a kid that's a TikTok star, and I may have mentioned him to you. We did a television show that I was working on,
Yeah, you told
and
me his name. Yeah,
Taylor Holder. Did I tell you about him?
yeah.
Taylor Holder has millions of followers. Cannot get arrested as a record deal. His goal is to be a country singer and be a.
Just looking him up while we're talking.
Every label is looking at him, going, "Damn, look at all your followers. Too bad your songs suck, and too bad you can't sing." You know, and no one has signed him yet. I don't think it's going to happen. So that's my point. And he does a lot of, if you're looking at him now, he does a lot of chaos type. That's a influencer TikTok post. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
would
good. No,
let
thank
go
you.
of trying to
That's
chase that.
yeah. No, that's really clarified for me. Where like if even if you just look at this whole thing that's working, which is me in a park, and then doing this to the camera and just creating a little hook, little anticipation, little resolve, and the music is the resolve.
Yeah.
That shows real life, me dressed like I can find a way to
Yeah.
still make the apparel more yacht rocky,
Yeah.
but it's not. So there's those levels of like, here's me in real life on a beach singing you a song, and like here's now a really plush music video. And so I see the way that we can approach this because
Yeah.
ultimately,
Yeah.
yeah, and to me, that my audience is digging that more than they are the other things. So I don't want to be
Yeah.
that, which is a relief. You don't think I should. I just always sucked at it because I was like, this feels icky. It's not me,
Well,
you
yeah.
know?
That
Cool,
should be
cool,
your
cool, cool.
first barometer right there. If you feel goofy doing it, I wouldn't do anything. I mean, Bradley, you're not 19 years old. You know, your
Oh,
audience
but it's
isn't
just what
19
people
years.
say. It's just, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's just the things
But I
other
mean,
people have said.
I think we ought to really focus on, who's your audience. And if we say, yeah, she's 40 to 45-year-old white woman, that's pretty cool. You know,
Yeah,
what, what is that 40? That's the easy market to chase. You could
yeah,
make all your social media ads. You could, I mean, really placate to that lady and what, not so much a musician. And so that's one thing that I noticed, because you're you're
I've
in a
been selling to
way,
musicians till now. No, that's the way I've been doing it
yeah,
till now.
you've been a
With the
musician's
covers,
musician.
this
Yeah,
is the first time that I found a way to let the music speak for itself. So I'm going to keep
yeah,
doing that as we keep changing, but then keep exploring ways of telling my story through
yeah.
that stuff, through that.
And,
What's the way I
and
would say it?
well,
The format, I guess you can say, the narrative of the storytelling visually. I've
yeah,
got something that's working for me. I can now just supplant more stuff that it's letting the music tell the story and not letting
yeah,
the effort and the music legends be the story. That was the first chapter, and it got me to a point to be ready
yes,
to make me that
yeah.
me make me the story. I'm the story. The music
Brilliant,
is the story.
brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, my love for music, and I'm talented. I sing, I play. Here's what I do. I love this stuff. There are people who else loves this stuff. I can't be alone. Yeah. No, you've got really good insight on this.
Well, it's been 5 years coming, isn't it, to sort of get to this point. The
Wow.
next question I've got is someone said something really interesting to me the other day with the Eat Street show that I do, which is it's a family venue, and it's like
Yeah.
so you've got all ages, you got generally older parents with their kids. You've then got sort of
Yeah.
young teeny boppers that are there doing that sort of adolescent date thing. You've got
Yeah.
20s through to 40s having first dates. My show goes really well there because it's so inclusive, like genuinely inclusive, not like
Yeah.
inclusive. It's just like it's for everyone. It's me being the
Yeah.
entertainer that you've articulated really well. They said to me, they were like, no one is doing a family thing, right? And what they meant by that, not Wiggles, he's just like, no one is saying you can bring your kids to this. Like, no one is like
Yeah.
doing a thing which is, he's like, you don't put on any airs, you're not trying to, like,
Yeah.
it's all the stuff that we've articulated that is who I am. It's fun,
Yeah.
people laugh. He's like, you get the women giggly with this. He's like, you
Yeah.
just sort of that charisma stuff. So he's like, doesn't matter the age, they sort of start to really enjoy what you're doing. He's like, that's the key. So I just wanted to share that in a way. If there's, we don't want to,
Mm.
make me a wiggle, but the live show, and this could be a question for the next time we do something. Is there a way to build a show that's doing that? Because
Oh, I
that's
think
what
so.
Taylor
Definitely.
Swift kind of did, but that was sort of an accidental, like girls bringing
Yeah.
their parents or dads. Is that I
Yeah.
don't know how to sort of because that's the biggest challenge I'm having. Either I build a whole show around the yacht rock thing, which I think I should do anyway, and then just find a promoter to market it and sort of let that be what it is and build it out just
Yeah.
off it goes. But in terms of like the cabaret cruise show stuff, and this is this kind of family thing I've built. No
Mm.
one else knows how to package that because no one's doing it. So no one's like,
Mm.
they go. So I just wondered if I shared all that, whether you had any instincts, and it might just be, well, it just works for the venue and leave it there. And,
Yeah.
because ultimately I probably want to be playing music festivals, but if it maybe this will catch up and it'll all just be no, that's a Brad McCaw show where you can just bring your kids and it's not the selling point. And maybe he's
Yeah.
just confirming what we've said is no, you're doing something that is unique. So keep going because you've got so much point of difference in the industry. So just keep going is probably what he was saying, not put on some
Well,
skivvies
yeah. I mean,
and play
I
guitars
don't.
like a wiggle.
Yeah. To me, I'm sorry I used the wiggle thing,
No, it's
but
fine. It's
okay. Well, you know how those guys had the long sleeve collar, yeah, but they were long sleeve and they all had different colors. And God, we watched so many Wiggles episodes when my kids were little. But um, the I think yacht rock is family friendly anyway. There's nothing evasive about any of the lyrics, the themes. It doesn't placate to little people, but it doesn't prevent them from being a part of the music experience. So I don't know. I just don't see it being that different than what you're probably already doing. Maybe it's just song selections and um, and just being that's where your authentic is that you are receivable by families and young people and old people and you know I don't know. I wouldn't. I haven't seen you play live like that, so I'm. It might be a little different. And so, but right now, I don't. I don't see the yacht rock being that different than a family friendly show.
amazing. Okay, one last thing I think is that I think we've covered it. So the story is my love for music, what I do, who else loves this stuff. That's kind of the way for me to sort of pigeonhole this kind of thing. You think Facebook and TikTok just for virality, and I'll use the TikTok stuff on Facebook with slightly more kind of a variety of carousels and all
Yeah,
this
I mean,
stuff. But I should
I
use the
the
same content that's working there, right?
I
And
would
focus
try it.
on,
I think it's about testing. I mean, you've already getting some feedback on different platforms when you're using the same things. Like, oh, it didn't do as well here as it did there. Be a student
it's just
of
a lot to
those.
do them all,
It is
isn't
a
it? It's a
lot,
lot to do
and
all of them at once.
Yeah.
I was
That's the
I
reason
was
why
thinking,
this
yeah,
grid that I put together always focuses on creating one content day that you can go, all right, this is the theme for this, and that. The theme is similar, but I might do the edit a little differently and just slight little nuances.
yeah,
That's next
you kind
level.
of need that. Yeah, you need the test period though, don't you? That the same way that I really just
Yeah.
said, okay, for this month I'm testing TikTok. Now that that's going, you need to build all the material, let that run, and then go, okay, let's test Instagram. And once you get that clarity, it's easy to build the stuff in the way that, yeah, okay. With
I think you're
YouTube,
going to
do you
have to
think I
give
should
yourself
leave that for
more than
now?
a,
Because that's no, no, I understand. It's a long term thing, but I'm just saying creating smaller chapters to be able to have a deep dive and then create, deep dive, create, deep
yeah.
dive,
Oh,
create.
yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
smart. That's a good time management, time blocking tool. Here, I'm pulling
because
up
I've been
your,
repurposing all the TikTok stuff, and that's working.
yeah. Oh,
Some
good.
of it's working on Insta. I can see, but it's
Uh
probably
huh.
captions. The YouTube thing I was thinking of doing was like vlogging is obviously something that is really native to YouTube, and
Yeah.
I
See,
think
to me,
all
that's a
this.
great place to host your show and even on shorts to go, am I was accused of being yacht rock. Am I a yacht rock artist? And then you have a little cutaway of your song and it's like, yeah, it just creates conversation. Yeah, I'm looking at your YouTube channel now. Let's see here. You got a lot of stuff. You got 12,000 followers, man. That's great.
Yeah, it's died. The it's the traction's really died off in terms of the reels. I haven't found a style that works. But the videos
Hmm.
themselves, people are coming back and watching and enjoying. And although that last
Uh-huh.
Queen one got almost 1,000 views, but some of
Yeah, I
them
see
just
it.
work and
900.
some of them don't.
Well, Bohemian Rhapsody got almost 500. I mean, I just think there's a couple things at play here. Right now, it looks like you're in the 400 to 500 jail,
Yeah.
and but that's good. A lot of people never get out of the 200 view jail, so
Well, this
that's
is why with the
positive.
covers, that's why with the covers, I'm like, you know what? This is why it's at least working at the moment, and just keep using them as a way of getting out of that algorithm jail, and then start feeding in more of the other stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
clear this POV thing people understand, and it's sort of working. Um,
Yeah. What is your point of view? Use. I'll pull it up real quick. Yeah, that's good. So long. Down my spine. I mean, to me, that's your whole theme right there. What you just did in
that's
that little
that's
thing.
right.
It's like I've been on this journey and I've come to find out, am I yacht rock? I love this stuff. Yeah, who else loves it with me? And you build that correspondence with all those people. Um, and they will jump in there and share. I mean, I tell you who, and you haven't met my wife, huge yacht rock fan, huge, huge. Now she's not 40 years old, and she's older, but I mean that was music that she absolutely loved when she was in high school. So
It's
she's
really songs that
62.
people can dance to. Songs that people can dance to, feel romantic about, can enjoy in that way. That's
Yeah.
really what we're talking about.
How does that feel? Like, yeah, man, I'm kind of all right. We're here. I love this. Good. I mean, and I try to even listen through young people's, head, and they seem to like it. I think they're so open. They don't even put genres on things anymore. They just either like it or they don't. There are two types of music for them. I like it or I don't. You know. Um, yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't
That's
know. It
good. That's
seems
good
like you're
advice.
already on course.
I think, well, this all stuff, but this really, I started pushing it harder since we spoke first. So it's really been a really great new chapter. I just posted like 6 times a day on every platform. I was like, let's find out what
Wow.
works. I
Yeah.
was just
I've
like,
been
let's
catching.
go.
What
Um,
do you see
the other,
that's
the oth-
working so far? Because maybe not enough time has gone by, but are you seeing something that's working or?
yeah, the numbers are growing. People are engaging more. It very rarely seems to go to the same people all the time,
Yeah,
which is amazing. The people that don't like
yeah,
it just unfollow, but I'm getting more traction naturally than I am losing people. So
that's
I'm
positive.
I'm just like, well, TikTok though has been pretty overwhelming. The speed in which and that's the nature of the algorithm. But I mean, yeah,
I've got
282 followers. Are you 282 followers and
on
so yeah,
TikTok.
yeah, and 2,604 likes from nothing a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So it's
I've got to
slow,
share
but
with
it's
you. Yeah. So there's a buddy of mine that's he's written about maybe 18 number ones in pop, EDM, and dance. I signed him as a writer's first deal, and we worked together for 20, 30 years. So
yeah.
now I'm helping him. He's now 67 years old, older than me, and he's recorded music, and he's a great singer. He's a young 67, and I talked to him. He is in from Charleston, and we had a coffee this morning, and he goes, "Well, what is the one thing I need to do to make a difference?" And I'm like, "Well, the discovery mechanism for your kind of music, even though he's older, his music's really young and kind of alt indie pop. It's very cool stuff. Really well written songs. Of course, he wrote them by himself. I mean, he's had hits with Gwen Stefani, Blake Shelton, Reba McEntire, Tim McGraw, Eddie Swim. I mean, he's had a ton of big hits. This is the first music he's ever put out on himself at 67,
Good for
and
him.
he didn't have any social media because he was like, yeah, I don't know. So he started from ground zero.
This fad's gonna die.
Well, yeah, whatever. He's like, yeah, I can't speak the language. Anywho, long story short, we put out a song and he's got another one coming out. And I told him this morning, I said, man, you ought to really, I don't know why you're not using TikTok because it's like the discovery mechanism. And, it's a little bit different art. You ought to just have fun. So we're sitting there having coffee. I said, well, sign up. Here, I'll show you how to do it. So he signed up. He made his first post and he got one like, which was me. One view, one like, which is me. And then I'm like, well, hang in there, buddy. You got to kind of post some stuff. So he posted another video of him doing this little thing. And he goes, oh my God, in 1 hour, I got 960 views on it. And I'm like, well, there you go. He goes, I think I'm figuring it out. I'm like,
That's so good.
ride the wave because his next one might get 4 likes or 4 views. I mean, it's like, you know what it's like. You've been doing it for a while.
That's
You're
right.
just like, well,
It's
what
about
am
the
I
practice,
doing?
not the result.
Well, it is about the practice until you figure out how to get the results. And, that's next level of, you know, really, but it's that I think they're going to keep changing the metrics just to keep it interesting, honestly. You know, that's the way those platforms work. They had I'll share a little side note here. Spotify just announced their report for last year and the followers and subscribers and this and that and who's listening, why they're listening, and all this stuff. Well, Spotify has kind of maxed out and their subscriptions, for years have been going up, 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 up. But now it's kind of like plateaued slightly. Still growth, but not as big. So, of course, it has all of them going, well, okay, we got to change it up. So now they're working on this Spotify 2.0. Have you heard about that? Have you heard much about that? So where you can take like your song and a Bruce Springsteen song and a Hall and Oates
Remix it
song,
with
you can kind of
AI.
morph them together and make your own thing. And it's like,
They're gonna
what
kill
the
their cash
hell is
cow.
that? And but that's like they're trying to figure out some sort of play. They're trying to make it into a song toy, so people spend more time noodling and doodling with it. because it's driving them crazy that, TikTok has cap cut on, they're owned by the same company, and you use one to help the other, and then and so these guys are so smart that they're always trying to figure out where humans will go and spend their time and what creates interest. And after a while, it's like, well, I've already been there, done that. I've seen that. What else you got? And we've been in such a growth phase for all social media for the last really 6 years that we're still trying to catch up to like what's working and why does it work. And internally, they're all trying to figure out like, okay, TikTok has stole a lot of our viewer hours. What do we need to do? And same with YouTube. It's like, well, let's put shorts out. And so now Instagram is working on trying to create some new tools to where they can be uniquely different to engage with the audience, which would help us as, artists team members to kind of go, well, how do we engage with our people to create more of a dialogue versus a doom scroll? I'm maturing as a social media user. The doom scroll thing doesn't interest me as much, that I want to find things that I like, and I want to find content that I think is quality, and I want to find the mood or the educational thing that I want. And so algorithms work in a way that way, but that's where you have to almost be super consistent with your narrative of how you feel like is going to be where you're going to be in the next 3 to 5 years. So you can kind of keep on brand and on when people go, they're not going, what the hell is he riding a donkey out in the desert for? What does that got to do about what? I'm just pulling that out of the air, but you know what I
I
mean?
got
It's
you.
like
Yeah, I
that
got you.
on brand. I don't know. I'm honestly
I've got you.
I
No, no, I've got you. I've got you. I
I
think
I'm a student. I'm a student, and we're all learning together. To be perfectly honest, we're like,
that's
oh,
right.
okay, let's try this. But the only thing that you can control in this whole journey is the ability to make content, put it out, be smart, measure, adjust, make more content, new strategy, put it out, read the metadata. Where did we win? This sucked even worse. Adjust again. I don't think it ever stops, to be honest. I think you have to turn it into a
It's part of your
game.
PR. It's
Yeah,
part of your PR
but
campaign. That's all it is. It just never ends.
yeah, it's got to be a game for you to kind of go, I kind of enjoy this. That's fun, But
Um,
what other question you got?
something.
You write a
Yeah,
song
yeah.
about that, and I realize,
Whoops, sorry.
What did you think there's something deeper phase for? Like, I can't see the doc. You may have put it on there, but do you think there's something deeper? Is like so there's the discovery, which is obviously we've started to get the discovery right, and the angle, the themes of that discovery that's engaging, especially, yeah, that's sort of working. There's something deeper. Is that the about letting them see who you are?
Yeah, definitely is. And having an emotional connection between you, the song, and the person resonates with that emotion, whether it's happy or reminiscent or um, yeah. Here, I can pull it up
So
here.
there's
Some
sort
of the
of
things.
yes, yeah. If you, I'd love to just clarify that because I think again it's the misunderstanding I've had from the past, which is making me confused about what that means. Like we discussed before. If we have time for that, that'd be awesome. Oh, here we go. You've already got it there. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
great.
you
I
know,
can go through all that, Clay. That's
discovery
great. That
phase.
makes
So
sense.
yeah, I think it's like how do they move you emotionally, and having the aesthetics right. How do you personify that whatever yacht rock lifestyle could be? And it is, I just use that term loosely, but it's that air of confidence, smooth pop, jazz, great piano singer songwriter stuff. I don't know. See, I love this one here. Where 17-year-old me discovering this music. Who else grew up on that? I mean, those kind of things. So we got to find that connection with people. Um,
Okay, great. That
you
makes
know,
sense. So it's something deeper on brand and on message of what the narrative is. I got you.
yeah. I mean,
Which
why do
which is
you
where
do this?
which is where the podcast kind of fits in, but that's a different
Yeah,
medium of storytelling away from that. So it's a way of taking
but
that, repurposing it, telling that story, linking it in that gives them something more. That's another revenue builder with marketing spend, which is the whole thing. But still, you've clarified that really well. I understand, and it's just going to be trying
yeah.
and bringing
I
it all
mean,
together.
to me, it all now kind of fits, especially when you have a podcast that addresses the icons and in my yacht rock. I think that's funny. Um,
And it's fun.
and
It's my personality, my style. It's me just interviewing the
yeah,
old legends. How did it come about? Like them telling me the aesthetics. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Maybe it's a documentary that I try and make and then repurpose it to podcast. I don't know.
what would be cool is if you found some young male artist that are populating and they're like, that you got to go, you know what? I think Ed Sheeran might be a yacht rock artist. Is Ed Sheeran a yacht rock artist? There was a kind of a, I've never tried
Okay, I'm
it, but I
sorry.
thought,
I gotta go to the bathroom. I've been trying not to
okay,
break up the flow. I'll be
well, do your thing here. I'm standing by.
Yeah, that makes sense, Clay. That really makes sense.
Um, I got distracted here where somebody sent me something.
Um,
I forgot what we were talking about,
oh
but
yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I think it's a sum it up time. I think with everything you've supplied, I think I've got so much time to get stuff in motion and keep testing things before the first single. You
do you have a budget for
probably
video
noticed I've
content?
started using what would be this
No,
is I've got to go to the money people and sort of work out what we have, and I've got a bunch
yeah,
of cameras. I can do a lot of stuff myself. I've focused on that the last
yeah.
little bit to try and so I can keep doing that. Yeah, I'll we've got some cash flow anyway in the company, so yeah, I'm gonna process
I can
everything
tell.
and really look at
I
it
can tell. I can tell. I got your head spinning. That's good.
in a good way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But for the first time in a while, I could see I could see the flag. Like I feel like it all comes together and everything I'm doing complements it. It doesn't take away from it. It's just putting things in their right area, letting the narrative do the work, and then yeah,
The other thing I would encourage you to do is pay attention to feedback. When you start getting like comments that are kind of pulling over here, one little clever thing I now remember what I was about to say. I would start investigating some of the new, really current popping off artists that we looked at the other day. Not that they're deceased, but the young, the happening ones that go, I think so and so's a yacht rock artist too. You know, I mean, and you just start spreading that narrative around that they're all like me and we're like yacht rock. We're all one new cohesive. I call it cool by association. But even if you took one of these current cat songs and did a cover of it, one that's virally doing well and going, this is definitely a yacht rock song, you know. I think we're yacht rock brothers. I mean, you got to create some kind of like family. Like I'm like you, you're like me. We like the same things. You're my buddy now. I like you. You know, and so all their fans going, who is this guy? Oh, I like his stuff. It's different, but it's cool, and it's in, you know. So I mean, I was reminded again the other day. They go, well, Clay, the simplest rule for being successful in social media is being social on social media. I'm like, okay, that makes too much sense. So one of the little things that I'll have up there is you responding and making it a goal each day to drop messages in people's posts and in their DMs and try to do at least 20 of them a day. And that's tedious. And sometimes it doesn't yield a lot of results right away, but it's one of those things that when you're commenting on other artists that are yacht rock friendly, it's like, dude, you're a yacht rock artist like me. I love what you're doing. I'm a big fan. And, you know, or, oh, you're a neo yacht rock artist. I don't even know if there is a new playlist that's like the hybrid of that genre, but it's so popular and there's so many people doing it that Yacht Rock Revival playlist was so inspiring. I'm like, oh my God, these are cool. All of these songs have that flavor and they're so well produced and the songs are clever and the horns and the production. I'm like, and then when yours came up, I'm like, well, shit, this is good, you know? So I don't know. That's to me, that is the journey is attaching other people to your thing and moving forward and keeping it on brand with what you're doing and trying not to deviate and be something else. But it's like this is our lane, and all you people come and join me because you're already here. Let's go. Let's take the hill. So
I'm just writing that down. Yeah.
well,
Okay. Awesome.
I'll send
Okay.
you
I'll go get to work.
a link to this Google thing here. I didn't realize we've been talking already this long, but I've got a split here in about 10 minutes
Geez,
to the
neither did I.
Bluebird.
That flew.
Yeah,
Let's jump
but it's
offline
good.
now so you can get there.
Well, I'll make it, but yeah, I don't book shows that often, but I booked this one, so I gotta go. But it'll be fun. You know what I told somebody the other day? I said, I think I've been to so many shows and stuff that I'm like, oh man. And as soon as I get there, I'm like, hey, I'm glad I came. You know, it's like, isn't that weird? It's the effort to do it, but once you're there, it's like, this is fun. You know, I think social media is like that same thing. It's like, but once you post it, you're like, oh, I see the results. Okay, this is fun. You know, I don't know.
I
It's all
totally
part of
agree.
it's all part of doing something leads to doing something more. You know, like okay, let's do it. But well, good man. I hope you get your congestion cleared up. That sucks. I've been there too many times. But
I think
it's
I'm just run down from the last few days. My voice is pretty
yeah.
tired, so I'll just rest.
You
Been
you you ran
laryngitis, I
on
think.
yeah, that and just hard work. That's good. Well, hey, did
Yeah.
you get that Swift code and all? It was different.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm just gonna check it now.
Yeah, the bank changed owners and now it's Truist instead of SunTrust. I don't know if y'all have those branches in Australia, but yeah, check that if you need, if you didn't get it, I'll resend it or whatever. But
Oh, there it is. No, got
I'll
it. Perfect. That's perfect.
I
Got it.
am
I'll send that this morning.
well well let's wrap and I'll as soon as I get back tonight, I'll send you that link and you can kind of sort through it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me and see if I can try to answer them. Okay.
Thank you, Clay. Yeah, I'll get stuff going and then
Well,
I'll work out what the next step. Maybe it's a check-in or something. I'll see what budget I've got, and we can we'll see how I can piece all this together, and then keep working together in some capacity. I'll work out what that is.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for you. Keep charge the hill, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's been yeah. It's anyway. We'll be keeping in touch. So this isn't a goodbye for a few years, but uh,
Yeah. Well, no, I'm always here. You know how to reach me. But also, when I get back, this link will take a minute to download, and when it gives me a link, I'll email that on to you.
perfect. And I'll
Okay.
do the payment thing. And obviously, I'm a bit dejected with my voice right now, so I'm not being very forthcoming. But thank you for such an amazing session and for bringing clarity and direction to what we're doing. So thank you very much.
Well, you're a talented
Thank you.
dude, Bradley. Your music deserves to be discovered. So you're jumping right into the new way that everybody's facing the challenges. But luckily for
Thank you.
you, you're talented. There's so many that are doing it that are not. But you have talent, my friend. You have talent. Well, all right.
Thank you,
Well,
Clay.
dude, I hope you
Okay,
get to
enjoy the
feeling
show.
better. All right. We'll talk soon.
Look forward to it.
All right. See you later.